Hey guys. Okay, it says it's live. Perfect. Hi guys. Looks like there's just one of you for right now, but yeah, like I said in the title, I'm gonna be working on some more Etsy orders. So if you guys were part of my last live, I have 3 birthday outfits to make. All the shirts are embroidered. I just have to work on the skirts. So today is gonna kind of be like a sew along sort of a thing. So I'm going to be working on the skirt. I'll show you guys the best of my ability how to make the skirts because obviously I'm using my laptop, so the angles won't be the most ideal. But I thought I would just go live and I guess start making stuff with you guys. So let me show you what we're gonna make today. So I have three, like I said, 3 outfits. So this is what we will be making today. So it has a built-in the bottom here. It's got built-in shorts. So here are the shorts. And we use the shorts as kind of like a basis to add the ruffles. And I serge the end of the ruffles here, as you can tell, and then I kind of sew over it to kind of hide the serged edge. So there's 3 ruffles. It's got an elastic waistband. So there's not too many pieces for this, and I'll kind of go through all that as well. And here, the inside, I include my name tag for my business as well as the size. So yeah, so that's what we're going to be making today. So I whipped out this one last night, so I have one outfit together. I still have to take pictures of the, I have I'll show you the shirts actually. I think they're on my heat press. Hi, thank you for joining me. Appreciate it. Let me just show you the shirts that I made. So made one on my last live, which I think this was the one that we made. It was the number 5. So here's one. They're all tender touched and ready to go. I just need to take pictures of them. This one I already have a listing for, the number 5, so I'm not going to do a listing for that. But these other ones, I don't have pictures of the numbers. So here's a number 6 with the name Aubrey on it. This is the one that I actually finished the skort for. So here's that. Then again, I'm going to do a new listing for this because I have only numbers 1 and 5 as listings on my Etsy shop. So I'm going to add this one to it as well. And then got number 7 here, and the person didn't want a name, so I just stitched out the design. So like I said, since I offer numbers 1 through 9, I want to post as many listings of the different numbers as I can, especially if somebody's looking specifically for a 7-year birthday shirt, then they'd be able to see that. I offer that and exactly what it looks like. So that's what we got. So the skirt that I finished yesterday, it is due, they need it by May 8th. So it is April 24th. So I wanted to get that one at least shipped out and ready to go. And then the other ones, I don't think they're due until June. Let's see. End of May and June. So here are the plastic sleeves that I use to organize my orders. I typically have the shirts all folded up and ready to go by the time I'm ready to sew the skirts. But I am, like I said, I'm planning on taking pictures of the outfits, so I haven't put them in their sleeves yet because I don't want them to get all wrinkled looking and stuff. So yeah, this one is for the number 7 birthday shirt. So this is a matching skirt to go with it. And we're doing a 7-year size skirt. So yeah, that's what we're going to be making today. So let's go through the pieces. Like I said, I just insert it into these plastic sleeves and it helps me stay nice and organized. And then I always put the plastic sleeves right to the side of me so I know that that's the order that I'm currently working on. Okay. So first, these are called the yoke, which, hi, Julianne. Yeah, I'm glad you can come as well. So like I said, I'm making birthday skirts. So I'm just kind of going through the pieces that you need. I use quilting cotton fabric. I was planning on making this like just a YouTube video, not going live, but it'll probably take me a while to make this. So I thought I would just go live, then I won't have to edit anything. So yeah, like I said, this is the yoke, or also known as the casing. So I'll show you for this. This is essentially what those two pieces are, is for the casing on the top. So that's what that is. Okay. Try not to get my orders mixed up here. So here is that for the casing. So I have two pieces. So here's one, here's the other. And I use a combination of my serger and my sewing machine. And like I said, I just use plain quilting cotton fabric. I don't think it's super necessary to use like stretchy or bullet fabric, but I don't think it would make a difference if you use that type of fabric or not, because either way, you have to use an elastic waistband. So, yeah, so that is that. And for these pieces, I am going to be serging this. That's all I'm going to do. So whenever I have certain pieces that have certain purposes, like if it's going to go to the sewing machine first, I put it by the sewing machine. If it's going to go to the serger, I put it by the serger. That way I kind of have different stations so that I don't have to go back and forth in between. So like I said, this piece is just going to be straight serged, and that's all I'm going to do for it for now. So I'm going to put it by my serger. Here are the ruffles. So on the Skorts, I have 3 ruffles. However, they are cut up into 6 pieces. So what you're gonna do, these pieces I serge, so I'm gonna put it by the serger. But essentially we'll be combining the pieces, because as you can see, it's kind of cut in half, but we want the ruffle to kind of be a big circle. So that's why there's 6 pieces, because we're gonna combine 3 of them to create 3 ruffles. So like I said, I'm going to put it by the serger for now, because like I said, that's all we need to do for this is to serge it. Now we're going to look at the shorts. So you will want to do 2 pieces. I believe this is, yes, this is the back. So the back has like a long curved edge versus the front that has a shorter, whereas the back. So you will want to do 1 piece. Oh, wait, your connection is unstable. Okay. I don't know what happened with that. It just said it was unstable. But yeah, so like I said, this is the back. So you want to cut out 1 piece, essentially 1 piece the regular way and 1 piece mirrored. So it looks like this. So like I said, this is what the 1 piece will look like, and this would be the mirrored piece. It doesn't really explain that in the instructions that well. So that's kind of why I'm explaining that to you guys right now. So I'm going to put this to the side, and then I'll show you for the front. So like I said, it's the same exact process for the front. You're going to want 2 pieces, and you're going to want 1 piece to be mirrored. And again, the back piece has like a longer curved edge, and this one has a shorter curved edge. So that's how you can tell that this is the front. So for how it works is we're going to first start off with doing the shorts, because like I said, it's like the foundation for building up your skort. So grab 1 piece of your back. So here's the back. And then let's see if I can show you. So we're going to lay it down kind of like that. So straight down. And then you're going to want to find the front, and you're going to put right sides together. And now what we're going to do is we're going to pin this curved edge, which is the crotch seam essentially. So I'm going to grab a couple pins, or clips in my case, and just start clipping. And I would consider this kind of like an intermediate pattern, just because there's like a lot of different steps to it. So try to make sure you get that curved perfectly clipped. So here's one all done. Like I said, you want them to be right sides together. And then you're going to want to grab the other pieces. So again, a back and a front, and do the same exact thing. So make sure again that they are right sides together, and match them up so they're perfectly matched and centered. Okay. So now I'm going to go to my sewing machine. And by the way, for the parts mainly that you're sewing, it's going to be 1/2 inch seam allowance. So we're going to sew this edge at a 1/2 inch seam allowance. So let's go to the sewing machine. Angles won't be the best, but like I said, I'm using my laptop for this. So I'm going to make it a shorter inch seam allowance. Turn on my machine. Sorry for all the stuff around here. I got a lot of, let me see if I can move you guys actually. There you go. You can kind of see it. Perfect. All right, so grab one of your pieces. And again, sew down right here at a 1/2 inch seam allowance with a shorter stitch length because you want the stitches to be somewhat tight. And make sure you back stitch as well. And my machine has an automatic cutter, so I don't have to worry about cutting my threads. So there is that. And now you're going to bring the long sides here together. So these are the sides of the shorts. And you're going to sew along that edge as well. So I always like to do kind of the crotch seam first, because once you get to this part, it kind of crumples it up a little bit. Like I'll show you once I have this all pinned what it looks like. So here's that straight edge, and here, if I can flip it around, here's what we just sewed. So I usually like to sew this first, and then I like to do the side here. But you must do both steps at this point because I tried to do that. Could you serge this part? Yeah, so that's another thing is that for the pattern that it gives you, it tells you to sew everything at 1/2 inch seam allowance, but I found that sewing the um, parts of the shorts will actually make the seams line up better, because if you don't, then I'll show you kind of where you do the ruffles, because the ruffles need to kind of match the length of the shorts, if that makes any sense. So if you don't do this part, the sewing, then it would kind of mess up your seam allowances and it would kind of make things a little crumpled and more complicated. So that's kind of how I found that it works best. I've kind of done trial and error with this pattern, but essentially the shorts are the only part that I really, use the true seam allowance for. And of course the top of the skirt as well. But like I said, we'll kind of get through all that as well. But good question. Appreciate you asking that. So yeah, like I said, just for seam allowance wise, and when everything comes together, I found that doing it this way makes everything kind of line up better. So again, do a 1/2 inch seam allowance all down that long side of the shorts. Make sure you go forward and back stitch. But I do finish up the edges with a serger just so it looks more professional. Okay, so this is what we have for this part. And now, like I said, I am going to go to the serger and serge down this side, especially to get rid of the little fluffs and stuff like that. You want a nice crisp seamed edge. So in this case, I do use a combination of the serger and the sewing machine. But seam allowance wise, I always go to the sewing machine first, because like I said, it'll make everything kind of line up better. So I'm going to put this part to the serger. Like I said, I have certain stations. And then now you're going to do the same exact thing for the other side. So like I said, right now you're connecting one of the front pieces to one of the back pieces. So you're going to do this process twice. So this is the second time we're doing it. So like I said, I always like to start with the crotch seam first. So again, 1/2 inch seam allowance. And just follow the curve where the pattern piece takes you. And then, like I said, here is the crotch seam. So now we're going to connect this side seam here. And I know this may seem a little weird and funky, but believe me, everything comes together the way that's supposed to, and it'll look like just a regular pair of shorts. All right, so that's all clipped. And now again, I'm going to do this piece at a 1/2 inch seam allowance as well. So forward and back stitch and just keep sewing. And like I said, for the shorts here, that kind of like creates a basis for where you will place your ruffles and everything like that. So that's why I always do this piece first. So here we go. Like I said, we just finished stitching this side, and now we're going to, and then we just finished doing this side as well. So now we're going to the serger to serge these edges to kind of make it look nice and crisp so there's not random flyaway stitches. And then we will continue to sew the other parts as well. Oh, I forgot to change my serger thread. As you guys can see, I'm running low on one of my threads, so I'm just going to quickly replace that. I actually meant to do that before we went live, but you know how stuff happens. So I have some extra ones over here. Just so you guys know, this is what I use. I use the Gutermann Toldy Lock serger thread. It's 2,500 meters, and it's overlocking thread. And I find that this works best for my machine. And that's what all the other ones on machine are as well. So let me just quickly replace that, and then we'll get to serging. Probably a lot of fluff and stuff in my machine here, but we'll see. And I know that it's kind of far away from the camera here, but I'll make sure I get close up to you guys so you can see exactly what I'm serging and versus what I'm not serging. Oh gosh, it's dirty. Just trying to get it all here. It probably would help if I released you, right? Sorry guys, brief momentary changing of the thread here. There we go. Okay. All right. Just changing to a new thread. Okay. All right, that's all right. I go through the hole, through there. I rarely do this because, like I said, it never really comes undone for me. So I'm just going to follow the steps here in the machine. 6 goes through both. 8. Hold on. Apparently I should not have unthreaded part of this. Okay. There we go. I'm trying to make sure everything pops out correctly. Sorry for this brief intermission here. Like I said, one of my threads needed to be replaced because I was all out of thread. Of course, when I was on a roll, I forgot to change this. Okay. Put it through the hole. Come on. just putting it under. Sorry guys, I know this isn't the most interesting part, is watching me from far away thread my serger here. There we go. Okay. Okay, I think we're good. All right, turn this on, get a couple stitches going. It's always a scary part for me, changing the thread. Oh, I'm the same exact way, especially since I'm not the best serger owner, so I don't clean my serger out as much, which I should be doing more of because I use this pretty much almost every day or every other day, so. Okay. Oh. It's not liking me right now. Oh, maybe it is. Let's see. It looks like something. Oh, one of them came undone. Oh gosh. I swear touching the serger is like opening up Pandora's box. Okay, so it looks like the third one came undone. So that's what the issue is, it looks like. There's also like a random thread here. Okay. Yeah, this is like for sure like opening up Pandora's box. Because it's like caught on one of the little hook things. Okay, so now I have to re-thread the third one. And the other ones are good to go. But luckily it's just through one of the little hooks. And just pull that through and somehow shove it under all this stuff. But yeah, for the most part, once it's threaded, it's fine. It's just replacing a thread is just the annoying part. But after that, we should be good to go, you guys. Just trying to put it under everything. All right. Oh. What don't you like about me? All right, that all looks fine. Is it the top? Oh, now the fourth one came undone, so that's cool. Let me trim all this. The fourth one that we just did just came undone, so now I gotta fix that. And then we should be okay. But now there's like a random little thread here. I'm assuming it's from the top. Yeah, one of the top threads came underneath where it was not supposed to. Sorry, you guys, there's lucky number 3 issue. One of the top threads was going underneath where it was not supposed to, so I'm just fixing that. I used to have like tweezers that came with this, but I have no idea where it went to, so You're going to have to just, okay, there's a little thread. Come on. Yeah, there's a little thread here that we're trying to put underneath. Welcome to the struggle bus, you guys. Replacing serger thread. Come on. Oh, wait, I know. Put it in the back. Put it under the foot there. There, okay. Now we can rethread the fourth one that we just did, but it all came undone. Oh, what's hooked up through here? No, it just went, the other one went underneath now. All right, so the other top thread went underneath into the machine where it was not supposed to be. Naughty, naughty. Again, sorry, this is not the most interesting part. Luckily, if you guys are rewatching this, you can just skip all this and get to the part where I'm back to sewing. All right, now that all those parts should be fine, it's just rethreading the fourth step that we already did, but it all came undone again. After this, it should be fine. No, you're not supposed to go in yet. Rude. We just had it threaded through and then it popped back in again. No, go through. Okay. Now I gotta pull you underneath. I think underneath here. I think that's what I messed up on, is I brought it up to the top where it was not supposed to be. And it keeps hooking to other parts as well. So like under here, under. Oh, this is so frustrating. Welcome to the most boringest tutorial ever. Again, I should have done this morning, but I was not feeling the best. I just felt so tired when I woke up and I had no idea why. It was just the weirdest feeling. And it's so nice outside today too. I feel bad that I haven't been really out and about that much, but I just wanted to relax before I went live here. All right, shove you underneath there. Come on, there you go. Don't catch. Okay. Please. Oh, a beautiful serged edge, you guys. We got it. Okay. So I like to do a lot of bulk sewing, which is why I'm doing it this way. So I'm just going to pop this sucker back in there. So first, I have both of these pieces that we just sewed. So like I said, we're going to serge this edge. Serge this edge. Same exact thing. So the edges that we sewed, we're going to serge so it looks all nice and crisp. Yes, I'm glad it's fixed too. So that's what I'm going to do now. So if you can't see me, that's exactly what I'm doing, is again, serging this side and serging in here as well. So it's a nice clean edge. And then I usually don't trim the thread. I just kind of like bring the other side around and then do that side. Okay, now again, I'm going to do the same exact thing. I have all these like threads and stuff everywhere now. So like I said, I'm going to do the same exact thing for the other piece because it's the same thing. All right. Luckily, I won't have to change any serger thread for a while because I have, looks like I won't have that one that's half full and the others are pretty full. All right. So now I'm going to do the yoke portion. Isn't a serger supposed to be threaded in a certain order? I think so. I think I did it in the beginning, but like I just had to replace one thread. So, but it's serging completely fine now. Yeah, it looks great. So I think when the first time like if you have to thread all the threads, I think you do have to do it in a certain order. And then after that point, I think it's okay. Gosh, my hair's a little frizzy today. So here is the yoke piece. Like I said, we're just going to be serging this, trying to make sure that the pieces are facing the right way. So I like to make sure that the cupcake is facing up. So this will be the top and this will be the bottom. And it looks like it's the same thing on the other side. So I'm going to put these two right sides together. And you're going to serge these two edges. So this short edge and this short edge, you're going to serge them together. And that's all you have to do for this portion at this point. So I'm going to do exactly that. And then we'll come back and I'll tell you what to do for the ruffles. All right. Now you got your 6 ruffle pieces. I just got a serger today. Any advice? Let's see. I would definitely recommend that you try to clean your machine as much as you can. Get the stretch needles as well. Those are the kind that I use because I use a combination of quilting cotton and then also like stretchy fabric. So you're going to kind of want some nice stretchy needles to accommodate that. I don't really have really many issues with this machine unless a thread comes loose at some point, but as long as you take care of it, like the machine is just really a dream. Even for like $200, it was well worth the money. And then, like I said, I just opened a new cone. So this is the serger thread that I use. I just got it from Joann's. It's Totally Lock by Gutermann thread, and it's overlocking thread. I just use white. I also have black, but I mostly use white. And then for my darker colors, I'll probably switch to black. But ideally, I'd like to get 2 sergers so then I can have one that is just for white and one that's just for black. So I don't have to change things and deal with all of that. But yeah, sergers are a lot of fun. There's so many projects that you can make. And this is a really great project as well, especially for birthdays. So here are the 6 portions for the ruffles. So like I said, we're going to do 3 ruffles. So essentially right now we're going to be combining all 6 pieces to make the 3 ruffle portions. So you are going to grab one piece and then you're going to grab the other piece and putting them right sides together. And now what you're going to do is you're going to get a couple clips. I'll show you what it looks like. Grab a couple of clips. I like to use magic clips. So here's one side, and now you're going to match up the other side. So here is the other side. Match those up. So now you're going to do this for the other two ruffled pieces, and you're going to serge actually this edge and this edge. So the two edges that we just clipped are the edges that you're going to be serging. So again, do this for this piece and the other two pieces as well. Hi Minerva, welcome. Just showing you guys how to sew one of my infamous skirts. So like I said, you're going to do this for all of the three other ruffles. And that's all you're going to do right now for the serger portion. And like I said, I don't like clip off the serged parts until I'm all done with them. Once it's a big long string. So again, right sides with right sides together. It's crucial that you do it this way or you would have to essentially unpick everything. So like I said, I'm just doing the exact same thing that I told you guys to do for that one ruffle. So do that for the other two. But yeah, I use a combination of magic clips as well as pins because there's some parts where you can't use, where it's more difficult to use magic clips. So I just use pins. But like I said, I'll show you that once we get to that point. So again, doing that for the second ruffle. And of course, you know it's a requirement to drop a pin on the floor, or a clip on the floor, I mean. Probably by the time I move out, which won't be for a long time, I'll have all these sorts of clips. I can probably fill up like a whole container of clips that I find on the floor that were unbeknownst to me. Okay. Do you use the blade on your serger? I do use the blade, yes. I find it just helps make everything nice and crisp, and it kind of helps keep me in check to make sure that I'm not serging off anything that I'm not supposed to. But it's really up to you, to be honest with you. I just like to use a blade because then it gets rid of all like the little threads and things like that that you don't want on there. So that's just what I like to do. All right, so now we have this big long thing here. So you're just going to trim everything off, which I use these little blue clips. I think these actually came with my serger. So again, just I'll come over and trim, I suppose. Then I'm just going to trim everything. Put them in my little container. Now for the ruffles, once you're done trimming them, you're going to put them right back with the serger. Oh, here's what you don't want to do. Wrong side, right side. You want it to be right sides together. So I'm going to have to undo this one. I guess I'll do that now. Even pros like me make mistakes, you guys. So don't worry if you make a mistake here and there. Luckily, for the most part, sewing is pretty forgiving. Embroidery, not so much. It's like rolling the dice with embroidery, especially if it happens to eat your shirt. So okay. Yeah, I was worried because I got an order yesterday for a shirt and somebody chose a font, but they didn't put a name. and I only have put the font if somebody wants a name. So I was like, okay, does this person want a name? But they checked out as a guest, so I was concerned that I wouldn't be able to reach her. But luckily, she just messaged me back and just said she wants it to be just as pictured. So if she didn't respond, then I probably would have sent an email to her because I think it's, um, oh, it's actually not on the, that's interesting because I heard that it was on the packing slip, like the person's email, but I'm looking at my other ones that I have for my other orders and I don't see anything. So just unpicking all that. I tried it without the blade and I have to say I like using the blade. Yeah, I do too. I mean, if you're careful enough, like you won't trim off anything that you're not supposed to, you know what I mean? Like, especially when you're sewing and stuff like that, you kind of get in the rhythm of knowing what your seam allowance is. So when it comes to serging, if you do use a blade, it's kind of like the same process. You know, you want to make sure with sewing that you're within the certain guidelines that you need to be. So, oh, this is so annoying. Come on. You see, you guys distracted me. I swear, you distracted me. Okay. It's always kind of hard undoing. I don't even think I have like a seam ripper or anything. I don't know how well that would work for, because like when you sew, it's just kind of one solid line, so it's easier to undo all this. But when it comes to serging, there's like a lot of little. We're not even like towards the end. All right. What fun, you guys, making lots of screw ups in this live so far in the first 42 minutes. But it's all right. Everybody, I mean, here I am making a tutorial and I make mistakes. So like if you make mistakes, like it's okay. Don't worry about it. Everything will be all right. Like look at my last live is how my embroidery machine ate that last shirt. So mistakes definitely happen for sure. Yeah, exactly. I'm glad you could all join me for this live, even though it's not very interesting right now because I'm undoing what I just serged. All right, getting there. I have that little bit left that we have to undo. It's so funny how easy it is to like serge. Like it took me like 5 seconds to serge this one edge, and now it's going to take me like 3 minutes or whatever to undo the edge that I just serged. Yeah, I felt so bad for you that the machine. Yeah. Like I said, it literally, like, okay, so it was only 4 stitches. I easily could have taken the 4 stitches out, but then the shirt popped out of the hoop, like, it just came out. So, if it didn't come out of the hoop, I probably could have saved it and it would have been fine. Because, like I said, it was 4 little stitches depending on how big the holes were. But, like, I easily got them out of the shirt. It's just it popped out of the hoop and it's you can't really hoop it the exact way you had it before. Especially for flatbed machines, it's like impossible to get it to the exact position that it was in. But I did have one design pop out of the hoop once, but like I like caught it in time, you know what I mean? Like, and it was off by a little bit, but it was only doing so it was doing the applique, but it already did the basting stitches and everything and the tack down for the fabric. So it was just doing the satin stitches, but the satin stitches were big enough that like it covered the parts that it was off by a little bit, if that makes any sense. So it was okay. But yeah, I was quite upset when it ate my shirt. I was pretty pissed off, to be honest with you. But I haven't had that happen in a long time. I just think because I was on one of my first lives and I was kind of off on my game, um, that I just wasn't really paying attention, I suppose. But after that point, even after going live, I watch my machine like a hawk when it's doing the number. And then once it does like the applique part, if it's in a really small area, then I know that I'm okay. All right. that part's done. Take the other part out. All right, we're getting there, you guys. Halfway taking out. But yeah, I mean, everybody makes mistakes, like I said. So once I calmed down a little bit and I knew I was on live, it was okay. And luckily, I wasn't that far into the shirt because the first steps was the basting stitch for the number, tack down to the number, which is what I was doing. Um, and then it was the satin stitches for the number. So um, even for the satin stitches, it's more forgiving as well because it's takes a while to get around the design, but it all worked out. I got all my shirts done. And then I felt bad because I was supposed to be doing like a work thing that should have gotten out at 2, but like I just felt I woke up this morning, it was the strangest feeling ever. I just was so exhausted. I don't know what the heck it was, but I woke up and I was just so freaking tired. Even though I woke up at 10, like I woke up at like 8, I still felt tired, went back to sleep. Woke up at 9:30, was still tired, went back to sleep. Woke up at 10:30, was still tired, but I'm like, all right, I need to get up because I went to bed around midnight last night. So, 10 and a half hours of sleep is a lot. So I'm like, all right, if I take it easy today, I don't do this kickball thing because the kickball would have kicked my butt. So I made the decision not to go. But I felt kind of bad because I signed up to do it, but I let them know that I wasn't feeling well and they were fine with it. And then I had another work thing yesterday. There was an event that I was volunteering at, and I was literally just sitting at a front desk, like telling people they can get food in another room. Like that's all I was doing. So I got there at 1. I was supposed to be there from 1:15 to 5:15, but since I was like not doing anything, they let me leave at 3. So that was really nice. So overall, a more low-key weekend than I thought it would be. But yeah, when I woke up not feeling like I had much energy, I'm like, all right, yeah, I need to just relax because starting a new work week and everything like that. And things are wrapping up right now, kind of for my job. So, um, at least for now, things are wrapping up, and the summer will probably be pretty quiet for me. So, um, pretty much I have this week and then the next week, and then things will be much quieter. So, but things are quiet now for my job right now, which is really nice. Um, all right, almost done undoing this. Then I'll fix this sucker and we'll continue. All right. Let me take out all of these threads now. Well, actually, it doesn't really matter, does it? Because if we serge it, then it'll all be hidden. Yeah. Okay, so right side. Gosh, there's all these threads everywhere. Whatever, we'll serge as much as I can, and then if there's little threads, then I can just trim them. So again, right side. Nope, I was about to mess it up again. So right side to right side. All right. So like I said, serge the edge where they're supposed to connect. And don't do what I just did. Okay. Yeah, I just realized that some of you might be working right now or sleeping because I know I have some international folks on here that watch my little old channel. All right, so making sure right side to right side. Did I do it for the other ones? Right side to right side. Right side to right side. All right, the other ones are fine. It was just this one that I messed up on, so that's not too shabby. All right, so going back to the tutorial here. Oh, let me trim. Got some threads caught. So here's what the ruffle looks like for now. Now we're not done serging this, so here's one big old ruffle, so we're not done with serging this, so I'm going to put that to the side. And I'm going to continue to trim my other fabrics if I can find, there we are. So trimming all of the threads. And again, only for the ruffles, you're going to put them back to the serger because we're not done serging them. So whenever I work on my items, and if I'm done it with something on a certain station, then I bring it to the next one, but these are still going to be working on the serger. Okay, now we're coming up to the pants. Okay. All right, so here for the yoke, we are all done with this for now, and this is going to be heat pressed, but we're not done with the other parts. So I'm just going to put it right behind you guys because you're sitting on my heat mat. Okay. It's kind of hard to figure out where these end and where these begin. So now I'm back to the shorts. Trim all of the edges. Now this, we're not done sewing, so I'm going to put it next to my sewing machine. Same thing for the other side of the shorts. This is where it will all start to come together and it'll make more sense. When I was first doing these, the steps for the shorts weren't making any sense to me, but once you turn them inside out, it'll all make sense. All right, so now here you got one of the fronts with the backs. Same thing on the other side. So now moving the random serger threads. So now you're going to turn, here's one of the pieces. So now as you can see, it is all right sides in. So you're going to turn it right side out for only one of the pieces. So here it is. So here is the side, one of the side seams for the shorts. This is the inner seam, and here's the crotch seam. So now what you're going to do with, again, one of your pieces right side in, one right side out. The one that is right sides out, you're going to put inside of the other pair of shorts, matching up all the seams. So here is the top of the crotch seam, and here is the top of the crotch seam. So you're going to match them up together. So putting this one inside the other one. Again, grab some clips. So here is that one part of the crotch seam. So you're going to match it up with the other, and you're just going to put a clip there. Like I said, all the seam allowances will start to make sense once we put it all together. So now, as you can probably tell, now you're going to start matching up the inside seam. So as you can see, here is the ones, here it is for the one side. So you're going to match it up. Again, I'll show you how it looks once we are done pinning this side so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. But essentially the inner seam that we have not sewn is what you're going to sew together for the next portion. So that's why this part is going to, oh, this side's a little short, so I always try, even if it's a little short on the one side, like for example, as you can see it laying flat, this side here is a little shorter than this part, but it's important that you match the tops to make sure it's all nice and even. So even if it's a little rumpled on the other parts, then it's totally fine. So now you will just keep pinning or clipping in my case. If there's little ruffles there, that's okay. So So just keep clipping all around that edge. The other side lines up beautifully, so you don't have to worry about anything not lining up. Clip. So as you can see, so here is the inner crotch seam. So from the side, this is what it looks like. You clipped all of the insides. So the ones on the sides here are the side seams. So these are the side seams of the shorts. And this is the inner part of the shorts. Yeah, they're a lot different. Like I said, I was very confused because I've made shorts before, but this was totally different than what I'm used to. So here's like the kind of the inner seam where I guess the butt's going to be, I guess. I don't really know. So now what you're going to do is you're going to serge, or not serge, you're going to sew at a 1/2 inch seam allowance all down this entire line. So all around this entire curve that we just clipped. So again, 1/2 inch seam allowance. Like I said, you'll be amazed how it looks once it's all put together because it's very different. So keeping it at 1/2 inch seam allowance, tighter stitch length. Just keep going all down that curve and just go with the curve. Keeping everything as flat as possible. So here I'm coming up to a curve. I'm just going to roll with it. Keep going with the curve. Yeah, like I said, I don't think I mentioned it, but I have a link in the description for this exact pattern if you're wanting to follow along with the instructions. There's only some parts that I kind of do on my own, which I'll mention as well. All right, so there is that curve. And as you probably guessed it, yes, we are going to now serge all around this long edge, just like we did with the beautiful looking side seams here. So now let's go back to the serger. So now, like I said, go all along that curve that you just sewed, just to make all the seams nice and crisp looking, so there's not random threads everywhere. Then after this, I will show you the shorts all turned inside out so you can see that we did it right. So yeah. Just roll with the curve. Okay, grab your little scissors. Here is that nice trimmed edge that we just finished. So here's the curve that we just did. So all nicely, beautifully serged. So you'll find like little threads on the top. You can just ignore that for now. So now when you turn it inside out, you got some shorts. So that's what they look like. I know they're super long looking, but that's where they're supposed to look like. So this is kind of the basis for the skort when it comes to attaching the ruffle. So there are the shorts. And now, if you guessed it, yes, we are going to be serging the bottom edges of the shorts. And then I'll kind of show you how I tuck all that in as well. So again, leaving the top open, like you don't serge anything for the top. I'm going to serge all the way down on the bottom of the shorts. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so like I said, I got this fabric from Joann's and it's super cute. So now we're going to go serge the bottom part of the shorts. So I like to finish the shorts before I start working on the ruffles. And then I know the shorts are all done, ready to go, especially the serge part. So yeah, let's now again, serge all the way down, all the way around the bottom edges of the shorts. There we go. can see me now. And I'll show you what it looks all nicely serged on. Yeah, all these little threads for sure you end up with a lot after you're done with this. All right, so I just did one short bottom, or one leg portion, I guess. I'm going to do the other one because there's a lot of little threads for this fabric. Yeah, this tutorial will probably be a while. We're only an hour in. I'm expecting it to probably be another hour and a half. Which is why I wanted to do it over live versus video, so then I don't have to edit anything. All right. Find any random threads, trim them. I actually found a couple. Want it to be all nicely trimmed. And I mean, you can't finish a project without having a bunch of threads on you, so I'm just kind of used to it. So here are the shorts. We're done with them for now, but we are going to, after we're finished with the serger for the ruffles, I'll show you exactly what I do with this, but essentially we will tuck this in so you won't see the serged edge. I just don't like the look of the serged edge. I like the look of it if you don't see it, but I also like to serge because it like trims away all the random little threads rather than get your scissors and trimming them. So that's why I like to use the serger, because it just makes everything look nice and crisp. So now this is the easy part, and I fly through this. Here is your ruffle. Now for all three ruffles, you're going to serge all around the entire outside edge. Because again, I like a nice crisp edge and without having little fabrics hanging around. So this was not included in the pattern, but I just found that this is nice and helpful. It'll make it look nice and professional to do a serged edge. And it is more time consuming to do it this way, but I personally think it looks better. I've seen people that have done this pattern that have used a serged edge and just leave it like that, but I just think it looks better to kind of serge it and then kind of tuck it in so you don't see it. So like I said, you're going to serge all around this entire circle on the outside. Yeah, I agree. And then even like if I do one of these lives for a tutorial, then you can ask questions, and then it could also help people that are rewatching this video if they see your questions. So I just think it's more helpful for everyone. And like I said, people can rewatch these lives if they've missed something. So like I said, I'm going to do the outside edge for all three of these ruffles now. So that's what I'm going to be doing. But yeah, this was how much I had left on the one cone, so I definitely needed to replace it for this project. Hi, Sonia. Welcome. Just working on a tutorial here. Like I said, this part, you just fly through it because you're just going in a circle. And I do use this my blade for this portion, but I never really catch any fabric. So one of the ruffles is done. So here is the here is a nice serged edge. So again, I did that around the outside of the ruffles, and I'm going to do it for the other 2 ruffles as well. Again, not part of the pattern. I just found that it to be easiest for me, and it makes my products look more professional. All right, second ruffle is done, so I'll just put it next to you guys. Now for the last ruffle. Now for now, we're all done with the serger. We will be using the serger again at the end once everything is kind of come together. But for now, we are all done with the serger. So for these shorts, like I said, we're almost done with the shorts. We serge the bottom portion of the shorts. So what you're going to do is, let's see, how am I going to show you this? So you're going to fold this in about 1/4 of an inch, I would say. Maybe, I think a little bit more. I would say like 3/4, and then fold it in again. And then you're going to clip that edge. So I'm going to do that around this entire portion of this one particular leg. Again, making sure it's not too big because you don't want to trim up the, you don't want to lose a lot of seam allowance. So here again is the one that I did. So I usually clip one pant leg at a time. So I'll clip this one, I'll sew it, and then I'll clip this one, and then I'll sew it. So that way there's not like all these clips and stuff around. So this project for sure requires a lot of magic clips, or just some clips of any sort. So here is like my whole big bin of clips. I definitely recommend that you get a lot of clips for this project. So like I said, now I'm going to clip all around the bottom pant leg, or one of the bottom openings of the pant legs for the shorts. Okay. You guys working on any projects right now as well, or are you just learning from me? Or both, maybe? Okay, almost done clipping. Yeah, there's a lot of circles you have to get used to when doing this project. So here is the one pant leg all trimmed, as you can see. The serged edge is all nicely tucked in because we folded under twice. So if you just folded under once and you would see the serged edge, but I folded in again, so you don't see that, and it's all nicely tucked away. Um, yeah, so now what I'm gonna do is at about, I would say, a quarter of an inch seam allowance for the bottom portion. You're going to use a longer stitch length and you're gonna sew all around this with this circle part. So again, for just one of the openings, and then you'll repeat the whole process for the other pant leg opening. Right now I'm working on HTV shirts. Nice. I'm going to put these over here. So all these other pieces are essentially ready to be heat pressed. I just want to finish up sewing the shorts because they're the portion. That's kind of where you build off of the skort. It's the basis essentially for the skort because obviously it's shorts. So I usually put it where the fabric is right side up. So so where the fabric is right side up and that seam that we folded in is underneath the needle where you don't see it. You just follow the quarter-inch seam allowance. And again, use the longer stitch length. Make sure you go forward and backward and then go all around the opening. Yeah, I want to get more into HTV as well. I want to get into everything crafty. I don't know, especially knowing that I'm going to have more time, since work will be more slow. Now I want to do anything and everything when it comes to crafts. All right, almost done with this one pant leg, and then I'll show you what it looks like. Probably bring over my embroidery scissors and just trim off any random threads that you may find. Where did I start and stop again? There it is. So trimming off any threads. So now I like to stop. Before I do the next pant leg, I'm going to turn on my mini heat press. And this is the one that I use. I think you can use an iron for this project, but I find that the mini heat press will kind of help you work more within the like the little crevices and stuff. So versus an iron where you kind of have to be careful that you don't burn yourself, this you don't really have to worry about too much. So I'm going to plug this bad boy in and get it heated up. If you hear a beep, that just means that essentially this is all heat up and ready to go. Just going to plug that in. Get that started. All right, so now you're going to do the exact same thing on the other side. If you're all just joining, welcome. Just working on a Skort order. So I thought I would do kind of a tutorial. You could always go back after this live and start from the beginning to learn how to do this. But hope you guys learned something new from this project. Super fun. Slightly, I would say like intermediate level sewing project. For sure, I think you really need a serger. It'll just help make everything work well. And like I said, this next portion, we're going to be doing a lot of ironing. And I add some additional things to this pattern that isn't super necessary, but I just want my work to look super nice and professional. So that's kind of why I have it this way. And then I think I mentioned this on, I think I got the review on Friday, but I got a really nice review from a customer. And she actually posted a picture of her daughter wearing my outfit, and it looks so freaking cute. It was one of my Too Sweet outfits. Message retracted. Oh, I'm assuming you deleted your message or something. But yeah, I'll show you guys now, I suppose, what the picture that they took. Etsy. Oh yeah, that person messaged me back. Okay. Yeah, that's just my heat press is all heat up. So let me show you the review. So here is her daughter and the outfit. So that's kind of how the skirt looks and how it lays. So in all my outfits, even if or all my listings, even if they're like Forever Sweet or if they're numbered outfits, I always include this picture because it'll show exactly how the skirt will lay. And I mean, look at all those ruffles and how cute that is. And her daughter loves the outfit. So super happy with that. But just so how you guys can logistically see how it will look on a child, that's essentially how it looks. So super happy that I got that review because I haven't had any reviews for this particular item of kids wearing it. So hopefully that will increase my number of sales for the project as well. Do you ever use a cover stitch machine for hemming your garments? I actually don't have one. So this is just kind of the alternative that I've just taught myself how to use. So would definitely love to get a cover stitch one day, but I'm content doing it this way. I think it looks either way, it looks professional. So again, I'm doing the other portion of the skirt or the other leg portion. I am doing the thing that we just did before, doing it at a 1/4 inch seam allowance at a longer stitch length. Then in a moment, we are going to start pressing all of our fabrics to be prepared for sewing. And then I was kind of upset last night because I have 2 rulers. I have a longer ruler that's like 24 inches, and I have a shorter ruler. I could not for the life of me find either of them. Turns out they were both on my couch underneath pillows. So thank you guys. Appreciate that. Yeah, I love this outfit. I just think it's so cute. And I think that's why like I was shocked because I went on Etsy and I typed in just birthday outfit. My items, 3 of my items were on the second line of the first page, like, just for birthday outfit. I didn't put in anything else specifically, so I was so shocked. Because I think Etsy is seeing that they're definitely unique looking items, and obviously people like them, and they get a decent amount of favorites every day, so I just thought that was so cool. Yeah. Alright, so now we're all done with the shorts. So this is what they look like. If they're a little wrinkly, it doesn't matter because essentially the shorts will be hidden, to be honest. So you can do the shorts in like another fabric. It doesn't really matter because the ruffles will essentially cover it all. But I like to do it in the same fabric because it doesn't take up too much fabric for this part. So again, we're all done with the shorts. Yep, they're the same size. I was concerned because one looks a little bit longer than the other, but they're the same. So shorts are done. Now to the iron. Okay. I'm trying to figure out where to put you guys. I have, maybe can balance there. Ooh, nice view. Okay, perfect. So I got my mini heat press. Here's one of my irons. I'll throw this thread away. Thank you for your service. Okay. So now, got your iron. Right now I'm going to start working on the yoke part. So again, I always check the direction and I want the cupcake to be facing up towards the top. So here's the top versus the bottom. So now I'm going to fold about, I would say a 1/4 inch. Yeah, 1/4 inch in on the top, and then get your iron and press that down. You're going to do that all the way around the entire top of the yoke. But yeah, this product is slightly beastly, but I love the finished product. I just think it's adorable. So again, pick up your piece, move it around, and then you'll do this for the whole top of the project. Okay. So again, this is essentially going to be holding the casing for the elastic. making sure everything is nicely ironed. All right, so now that we're done with the top, you're going to fold it down, I would say about 1/4 of an inch, maybe even more. You definitely want to have more than 1/2 an inch on the bottom, so I'll probably fold it down this much, which let's see how. Yeah, so I have it folded down about an inch, like 1 1/8 inches, or 1 1/8 inches, I guess, because you want to have a good amount of seam allowance at the bottom because you're going to be sewing the bottom of this yoke onto the top of your skort. So again, I'm sorry the angles aren't the best. I would totally zoom in and show you guys exactly what I'm doing, but I can't really do that, so I'm trying to make the best out of it. Okay, and then just do that around the whole entire project. Just try to manipulate the fabric to be exactly what you want. Okay. I would say we're about maybe at the halfway point of the project. Usually this ironing takes the longest. So here's what we did. So again, we tucked it in about 1/4 of an inch and then about a little over an inch for the next fold. And then we have a little bit of leftovers on the bottom, which is what you want. So now we're going to go back to the sewing machine. And so here are the sides. So essentially in one of the middles, we're going to leave about I would say about a 3-inch opening in the center, because that's where I'm going to be putting my name tags and stuff like that. But as well as, of course, you want the opening for where you can thread the elastic through. Whoops. So again, longer stitch length. And you want to get as close as you can to this edge here, this bottom edge. I would say about an 1/8 of an inch from the bottom edge. So again, you're going to leave an opening on one of the sides, and I always use the side seams as a guide to where exactly I am. All right, got my daily sneezes out of the way. So again, longer stitch length, about an 1/8 of an inch from the folded edge that we just did. You're going to go around the whole thing. This is why I like to not have this tech. Usually has like an arm sticking out, but I don't like the arm because obviously I do a lot of clothing. So if I do it this way, it will essentially, it kind of creates like a circle, which is what I want for my projects. I want it to kind of lay naturally like that. So again, just keep sewing all around in a circle, about an 1/8 of an inch from that folded edge that we just did. And I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, coming up to the one fold. So again, you're going to want to leave an opening on the bottom, middle. Did I get? Oh. Thought I got a notification on my phone, but I did not. So I will probably leave the opening that big, just because I tend to be off with the opening. So trim any threads. Okay. So here are the side seams, and here is that opening that we just left. So it should look like that. So again, this opening is for the back. So when I put it all together, I make sure that I know which side is the back versus the front, because obviously the back will be wider because it accommodates for their little cabooses. So let's go back to the iron. I have you guys balanced on like a tray here. Don't fall, you're fine. Okay. So there we go. Now for the ruffles. This part takes a while, but it's well worth it in my opinion. So grab one of your ruffles, put it right side down. So as you can see, it's a big loop. So what we're going to concentrate on right now is doing this inner loop. So for the inner portion of the loop, you will be doing this for 2 of the 3 ruffles, because we are going to tuck in about 1/8 of an inch on the inside, and then you're going to iron it. But first, make sure you have a ton, and I mean a ton, of magic clips to clip this project, because you're going to need a lot of them. So we got all those prepped. Again, keep your mini heat press handy. Now we are going to fold about 1/8 of an inch inside and press it with their mini heat press. And they're going to do this all around the entire inside of this ruffle. And then I always clip it just in case to make sure that it does not come undone. Now for this, I'll show you with my other Skort. So as you can see, this is my Skort. So this is one of them, and it's all tucked in like we're just doing now. Because if you didn't do that, otherwise there would be like a raw edge here. So as you can see, there's a stitch line. If we didn't do this, there would be a raw edge. So that's why we're doing it for 2 out of the 3, because this third ruffle will be all the way on the top of the shorts. So we don't have to worry about folding it in, because it will all be folded in and nicely serged at the end. So like I said, this is why we save the serger for the end, because it'll all be put together by then. But anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself. So again, pick it up, move it around, press, and clip, of course. So this is why I love my mini heat press, because there's a ton of like little nooks and crannies in this particular project. Again, grab your clips and clip away. All right, looking good. If you guys could give this video a thumbs up, I would really appreciate it. It will help my channel grow. And it would just show you guys that you support me in my channel. So I'd really appreciate that. But I'm not forcing you to do anything you don't want to do. So here we are, almost done with folding in the inside and pressing it. Now, again, this is required for the pattern. So this next portion, again, is something that I just do myself. Just because I like the look of it rather than having a serged edge. So typically for the pattern, it would say, okay, you're all done with this piece, put it to the side. But what I like to do is I'm going to fold in the bottom edge here about, I would say about 1/4 of an inch. And again, we're going to run the whole bottom, and we're going to press it and clip it just fairly similar to what we did on the top, or the inside, except that this will have a larger portion of the fabric compared to the inside. So again, this is totally optional, but I just like to have my serged edge nicely tucked in so I don't have to worry about any of the serged edges showing. So we're just going to do it for all 3 of the ruffles. We're going to be doing it this way. But again, for the inside, we're only doing it for the 2, because for the other one, we don't need to have to worry about tucking in the raw edge, because it will be all tucked in at the end. So here we go. Now you can see why I decided to do a live versus a video, because we're already at 1.5 hours. So that's why I decided, again, to do it this way versus recording a video. Then I wouldn't have to be editing all these footage, except probably about 10 minutes of this is my mishap with my serger, where I had to replace one of the threads, and I forgot to do that prior to the lab. So here we are, we're going around the entire project. Clipping as we go. That's why I always have my clips handy and ready to go right next to me, so I can continue to pin and complete this project, hopefully soon. Then here. All right. Now we're going to clip this last portion, and then we're going to go to the sewing machine where we will sew down this bottom edge. And then after this, I will show you what it looks like with the, so if you fold it over, this is what it'll essentially look like, except it would have, of course, some stitching to stitch that down. But otherwise, we would have had this, this edge just sticking out with the serged edge. But I just think it looks much more better if it's all nicely tucked away like it is here. So that's kind of why I do it this way. Now going to the sewing machine, and again around, I usually put my fabric down, do a longer stitch length, and again about around 1/4 of an inch seam allowance, I will sew down this part of the skort, or the ruffle, I mean. So again, we're only doing this for the outside and not the inside portion of the skort. So forward, back stitch forward. And I actually usually like to line it up with the serged edge. That way I know the serged edge will be nicely tucked away, because sometimes I do have issues where the serged edge is kind of poking out, and I don't want that to happen. I don't want people to even really notice the serged edge, to be completely honest with you. So usually this kind of flies by because we're just kind of going in a circle. So again, I'll show you what this all looks like once I'm done with this particular ruffle. But yeah, they are pretty time consuming, but I think it's definitely worth it. I think I charge my smallest size. I think I charge $28 for a skort, but as you guys can tell, it takes a lot of time and effort to make one of these. So I definitely think it's worth the money. And of course, as you can tell, my customers do too, because they keep buying from me. So I appreciate that. If any of you are my customers and you're watching, thank you for watching. Or if you're just working on your orders or something like that, again, I appreciate all 6 of you that are currently watching right now. But I like the part where we start pinning all the ruffles together, because then you can see the project start to come together. Yeah, so I like to do each ruffle at a time, so then I can have my heat press going, and then I can just finish one ruffle, put it to the side, work on the next ruffle, etc. Okay, so here we are. So here is what we just stitched down. As you can see, it looks nice and professional. So there are all the stitches there versus if I had the serged edge sticking out. I just think it looks nice all tucked away. So now this one is done. So I'm going to just put it to the side over here. Now we'll go back to the iron. And just what we did for that one ruffle. Oh, sorry. Hold on. I'm balancing. You guys are being balanced on this tray right here. So just trying to make sure that you won't come undone. Sorry if you guys get motion sickness. I should have prepared you for that. So, all right, now you're all properly balanced. Okay. So again, we're going to do the same exact process for the second ruffle. So I always start on the inside and work my way to the outside after I'm done with the inside. So gather your magic clips that you just used for the one ruffle. And again, we're going to fold in about 1/8 of an inch on the inside. Iron it down. Pin. So I find this part to be the most relaxing. And I do have an order for another embroidered shirt, which I'll probably get done tonight just so I can ship it out. Not have to worry about it or think about it, and hopefully get a nice 5-star review for shipping it out beforehand. Because I got the order yesterday and my processing time is 1 to 2 weeks. So if I show people that I can easily crank out my orders, then they might want to leave a review and stuff. So it helps me, it helps them. So, but I don't think they need their order until like June, I want to say. So clipping all around the inside. Okay. A few more clips and we'll be done with the inside. Okay. Now to the outside, which again, we're going to fold in about 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. Move it with your fingers and then just follow along the line with your heat press. And of course, clip as you go along. You guys ready for another work week? Because I'm not. I could definitely use at least one more day. I just never feel like the weekends are long enough. That's the thing. It feels like I just start to relax and then I have to go back to work. Not that I don't like my job, but I just like having a break from my job sometimes. Yeah, I don't know how you guys feel about that, but that's just how I feel. And I'm curious, do any of you do your business full time, or are you a full-time parent or a work from home sort of a situation? Stay at home parent, there we go. Yeah, I don't know when the next time I'll go live will be. I think I just kind of need a little break from YouTube, but I'll probably post a couple more videos this week. I have a few ideas actually. That should be fairly quick and easy to film. So stay at home parent. Oh, that's nice. That's the dream one day, but not at that point in life. But yeah, I would love to be doing my business full time from home, but it like took me 2.5 years to get my current job, and I do really like and enjoy what I'm doing. So I'm in no rush to do any changes, especially since I just moved for my job. So I'm in no rush to move along in life. All right, now we're going to go close your eyes if you get motion sickness. Cool. Okay. Again, we're going to do the same thing. Going to sew the bottom edge only. Again, keep it around 1/4 of an inch seam allowance, but I usually like to use my serged edge as a guide. Same here, I'm in no rush, yeah. I'm just content with my life, Whatever happens, happens, but for right now, I'm content. I'm also glad that I started this YouTube channel. Just because it's nice to know that I'm helping people, you know, like I help people in my full-time job. So I'm helping people, you know, when I'm at home and I'm just doing my crafts, you know, it feels good. Okay. All right, 2 ruffles are done. Now this next part will be easier because we don't have to worry about ironing down the inside. We just have to worry about the outside. Okay. Grab your clips. Yeah, and then after this we start doing the construction. So that's exciting. Yeah, this part is just preparing the pieces to be sewn on. So once we're done stitching down this last portion, then we can just worry about putting it all together. Okay. This is again why I like to use my mini heat press, because I don't have to worry about really burning myself or anything. I just got to be careful where I place my fingers and stuff. And just slowly start going around this edge. Okay. All right. Getting there, you guys. Yeah, so probably after I finish this skort, I will end the live. And then I think I have one more outfit I need to stitch out. And then I might do another shirt. I don't know. I could kind of use a little break. But I've been binge watching. I just finished catching up to This Is Us. Do any of you guys watch that show? Because I love it. Sometimes it's a little too heavy for me, but these past few episodes I've been binge watching. I binge watched 3 of them this morning. So good. I don't really like where it's going though. I don't know. Just seems kind of like too little too late sort of a thing. Like they're trying to do like late character development and I'm like not really into it. Or they're doing like really big changes right now that I'm like not into it. But again, I know that it's their last season, so I can kind of understand if they're rushing it. Going around. Happy to find your channel because I see we have the same machines except for the sewing machines. I have a brother PQ 1500 and you have the Juki. Oh, that's nice. Yeah. Mine is kind of like, I don't know if it's considered like a lower end Juki, but because I got it from Amazon, so I don't think it's like the highest quality Juki, but I really, really love it. I rarely have any issues with it. I did have an issue back in the day where I think I used the wrong sewing machine oil because it would like keep cutting my thread even though I wasn't like telling it to. So that was kind of annoying. But I realized I was using the wrong sewing machine oil. So once I changed the machine oil, it's been working great. So yeah, I'm glad you're enjoying my little channel here. All right, so last ruffle's done. So now I'm going to turn off my heat press. Or not my heat press, my little Cricut iron. So now I'm going to put you guys back on the tray. Now we're going to start construction, so this will be fun. Now you'll see it all come together. It usually doesn't take me this long to do this project, but you know, I have all of you that are trying to learn from me, so I'm trying to kind of go slow with it. So for the pattern, there's a few things that includes in the pattern. And the next part is we will be getting the shorts. So here are the shorts. I have a erasable fabric marker thingy that I got from Joann, so I'm going to use this. And then I have my 12-inch ruler here. So I have the pattern here. This is what it looks like essentially. So now in the pattern, we're going to make certain markings on our shorts, which is essentially where we're going to be pinning the ruffles. So this is where it all starts to come together. So now this, I always check the order. So this is for a size 7 years. So for 7 years, it says 2.5 inches. So essentially at the top, lay your shorts all nice and flat. Now at the top, we're going to make a marking 1/2 inch from the top because again, we use a 1/2 inch seam allowance. So I'm going to, again, make it all nice and flat. Keep it at 1/2 inch seam allowance. And then I'm going to make a line. And then from this line, I'm going to measure 2.5 inches down from it because according to the chart, it is saying that for 6 to 7 years, it needs to be 2.5 inches down from this top line. So make the line. And then you're going to do the same exact thing for the bottom line is you're going to measure 2.5 inches. So again, the top line is always 1/2 inch because that's the 1/2 inch seam allowance. And then you're going to measure 2.5 inches from the top line and then 2.5 inches from the second line. So there are the inches, or there are the markings that we just made. Again, this is like, and it'll disappear ink eventually, but for now it's there. And I'm going to do the same exact thing for this is either the back or the front. I don't really know. So again, 1/2 inch. Good morning, Shelly. It's actually 3:50 here where I live in New York, the United States. Yeah, this is actually a tutorial for one of my skorts. I actually came on earlier than I thought I would. I had a work arrangement, but I actually was not feeling that great, and it was going to be kickball, but I was just so tired, so I'm like, probably shouldn't go. So making some markings on my skort here, and I'm going to start putting it all together. Now I'm going to match up the lines from each side to the sides. That way I know exactly where to clip and or pin. So see, you can see the lines that I just matched up there, and I'm going to do it for the same thing on the other side. Again, match up the lines. Okay. All right. Now I'll put you over here, up above where I am. All right, so here's the skort, or the shorts. I keep saying skort. So here are the shorts. So essentially, now you're going to grab your pins, and now you're going to grab one of the ruffles where you have the inside, again, kind of ironed down about 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. So you're going to grab one of your 2 pieces for that. And now you're going to match one of your side seams. So again, one of the side seams with one of the side seams on the skort, which is right here. So I'm going to match this side seam with the one side seam on the skort. And I'm going to be focusing on this bottom line here. So you're going to essentially work your way from the bottom all the way to the top. It just makes it easier, so then you're not having to flip the ruffles around and stuff like that. So here. So again, you're going to find the side seam, which it's right here, and you're going to match it up with this little line here that you can kind of see on camera. And I'm just going to unclip this clip here because it's in my way. I usually, with one hand, usually my left hand, because I'm right-handed, I make sure that I match up the side seams as well as where the marking is on the side here, or the line that we just drew. So now I'm going to clip there, or pin there. So here's what we just did. Again, I'm lining it up with the line that's going that way. So here's the line, and then right here is where the line is going. So I'm just making sure that it's all nicely matched up. Now I'm going to go all around the circle, making sure that I'm putting the ruffle right where that line is that we just drew, because we want this to be all nice and even. And you're just going to go around the whole circle and keep using your actual pins, because as you can see for this portion, there's nothing that you can really use your magic clips to clip on. So for these next 2 ruffles, we will just be using strictly pins. And just keep going around. Yeah, I like doing this part because you start to see it all come together. Okay. Again, I always have one hand inside just to make sure that it's not catching on anything that it's not supposed to. I'm going to put it in the other hole just because it'll be easier. Again, using that line that we just made as a guideline. It starts to fade over time, so I usually have to do this fairly quickly. All right, so now one of you asked the question about the seam allowance. So this is why it is important to do the same exact thing that I showed you, because it will all end up nicely. So here is the one side. So I pinned the other side and then so we did the one side and then I went all the way around to the other side. So if we did not do the seam allowance, this portion here would be all bunched up. So if you follow it exactly how I did it, you will not have any bunching up of the fabric. So as you can see, I can just stick a pin in there and then I don't have to worry about anything being bunched up because the seam allowance, since we followed the seam allowance and exactly did what I did, that way we don't have any extra fabric that's not supposed to be there. So that's why for some portions of it, you use your sewing machine, and other portions, I just like to use my serger just so I can make sure that the edges will all end up nicely like it is right now. So we have about halfway pinned. Again, this process, like I said, this video is almost 2 hours long, so it does tend to take a while doing this skort, but usually I can easily crank it out in an hour and a half if I'm just focused and yeah, essentially as long as I'm just focused and trying to get these orders done. So after I have this all pinned, I will show you what it looks like, and then we'll go to the sewing machine and I'll tell you all about exactly what sort of seam allowance and stuff you should have for this portion of the design. But just keep going, trying to keep it nice and straight. Oh, I gotta pick up that pin or it'll go right in my foot. There it is. Luckily, these pins have like a yellow head to them, so I can see it through my beige carpet. Okay, about a couple more pins left. And it lays all nice and flat, just like I like it. If it is a little ruffled, like it's okay, like the main fabric, as long as you make sure you match up those seam allowances like you should be doing. All right, so here it is all pinned. So here's the first ruffle. I know it looks a little weird, but it'll look more put together once we work on the other ruffles. Wow, that pen is like disappearing fast. So now I'm going to go over to the sewing machine and I'm going to go shorter inch seam allowance. So I'm going to do about a 3. And I'm going to sew all around this edge that we just pinned and making sure that you don't accidentally sew anything that you're not supposed to sew down. Get your pins by your sides, then shorter stitch length. And you usually, that's just why, again, I like to not use the table so that I can just not have to worry about having that big old table to deal with. So again, forward, backward, and just remove pins as you go. This process usually takes a while just because you again want to make sure that you don't sew anything that you're not supposed to be sewing. Guys are very quiet again today. That's okay. Usually you just got to concentrate when you're doing these projects. Again, just get a few stitches in, move your project, do a few more stitches. Again, feeling and making sure that you're not catching something that you're not supposed to. Matching up the side seams. Again, if there is a little bit of ruffled parts, that's okay. And with that, I mean, like if your fabric bunches up and you didn't do your seam allowances correctly, there's a lot of forgiveness when it comes to this particular project. Oh, it's like so close to hitting one of my pins. All right, we're actually coming to the end of this one ruffle. Trim it. Okay. So here again is the one ruffle that we just sewed onto the project. So now we're going to do the same exact process. Sonia, no, sorry, I'm working on a crochet bunny. No worries. I'm just glad that somebody or some people are here to watch me. So again, you're going to want to make sure that you match up the side seams with the side seams, but now you have the side seam of the ruffle that you can use, which just kind of makes it easier to line up that way. So again, you're going to want to get your other piece that you have the inside folded down. Match up the one side seam with the other side seam. And now you're going to use the line that was above the other line that we just did. So again, we just did the third line on the bottom. Now we are going to work on sewing the middle line. So the second line. So again, finding that line that we just drew, matching up the side seams. And get your old handy dandy clips and just start pinning. I also do crochet. Me too. I haven't done crochet in a long time though. I've been working on this order for a knit baby sweater forever, and I just feel like I need to crank it out tonight and be done with it. I don't even know when it's due. I think it's probably due in a few days. So yeah. Again, just going to keep pinning all around that second line. It's actually kind of faded for me right now, which is interesting. I don't know if it's because of the light that's coming in my window. Are you doing a bunny for an order, or are you just doing it for fun? Or maybe you know somebody that wants the bunny. Do you do like all sorts of animals as well, not just bunnies? Man, this line is so faded. Just did it like 5 minutes ago. Okay. This point, I'd say we're about 75% done with their project, which is sweet. Now again, since we did that specific seam allowance, all the ends are lining up quite nicely. I love crochet, but the only thing I have made is scrunchies. Oh, I haven't made a crocheted scrunchie. Yeah, I learned how to crochet through YouTube, to be honest. And I'm kind of, well, my mom taught me how to knit and do the knit stitch and the purl stitch, and then everything else I just kind of learned on my own. Like I didn't even really YouTube anything. I just have been following certain patterns and stuff. So that's been fun. Funny is for my daughter, I'm doing all this characters from a book. Oh, what book is it? That's cute. I'd be done a velvet scrunchie. What? That's all right. We all have typos here and there, so no worries. Do you mean you've done a velvet scrunchie? Is that what you mean? Oops, yes. LOL. Okay. No worries, no worries. I mean, if you're working away, no worries if you have spelling mistakes here and there. I tried knitting as a kid, but I just keep dropping stitches, so I did cross stitch. Oh, yeah, I've tried cross stitching actually. I see all these like cool like cross stitch kits and stuff you can get, which I want to get like big crafts, but I know I'll never finish them. You know what I mean? Like I just like the idea of having a big craft to do. But knowing I'll never finish it. I mean, look at all the new items that I want to make for my Etsy shop, and I just don't have time to make them, let alone buying another project. So here's a second ruffle. As you can see, it's starting to come together. Now we'll go to Le Sewing Machine. Again, third shorter stitch length. Stitch about like 1/8 of an inch from where you pinned. Going forward and back stitching as well. Yeah, like I said, we're getting to the end of it. After this, we just have the top to finish off and then we'll be done. Then I really should finish all my orders. I do, like I said, I just got another order for a birthday shirt. I just kind of like the idea of getting all my orders done, but I'm kind of tired, so I don't know. We'll see. I only do loom knitting and machine knitting, no needles. Ooh, I want to do that too. You mean like that twisting machine thing or whatever? I've seen it on TikTok and I just think it's so cool. I actually tried to find one, but they just seem like so expensive that I'm like, I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, knitting is definitely not as forgiving as crocheting for sure. I remember I have a sister who has autism and when she did her first knitting project, it was like so it started out like this and then it went out like that because she kept like adding stitches by mistake when it was supposed to be a scarf. Um, and she was like, "Oh, you can wear this to school." I'm like, yeah, okay." But she's a really good knitter, actually. She just likes, especially when it comes to people with autism, they just like love the repetition. So she loves having like knit scarf orders and stuff. She didn't get many this year. My aunt, she's a school teacher, so she kind of has like a network of people that like to buy scarves from my sister. So, um, but yeah, she hasn't gotten many orders this year, so I feel kind of bad, but I didn't even really have any. I think I've had a few like knit scarf orders from my one Etsy shop. I even sold a couple like hats and headbands and stuff like that, which is cool because I've never offered it in my shop before, but I definitely love to get a loom so that way I can just crank out orders and crank them out and be done with it. Because hand knitting definitely takes a while, but I just like the feel of like hand knitting and then you can see what you make at the end. All right. So there we are. Here is our Skort so far. I have to add the last ruffle. Now we're all done with the pins. So now you just can use your magic clips. So now again, you're going to want to get the other piece that again does not have the folded edge that we did on the other ones. Thanks to you, I'm going to take my machines out of the boxes and use them. I'm so intimidated by them. Oh, I know. My first embroidery machine, I was pretty scared by it. Even my serger, just the noise that it makes and all like the threads have to go in a certain area. I'm like, was kind of spooked by it. But yeah, I've always also definitely been inspired by like different YouTubers and just seeing them make beautiful things. So yeah, absolutely. Definitely get into it. Like I said, my brother machine is a dream, my embroidery machine to use. Such a dream, so easy to make. I never have any issues with it. Um, rarely, very rarely eats any of the shirt. So that's great. I'm glad that you're doing that. Especially starting a new craft. It's like you don't want to mess up, but you're going to mess up. You know what I mean? Like it's just part of the process. And then you'll become more confident in yourself and what you can do. So right now, like I said, I matched up the top side seams and then now I'm just clipping all around. Sorry, I wasn't even telling you guys what I was doing. So again, making sure those side seams are matched up. Now it's really coming together, which is super nice. Man, I'm like the queen of long lives here. You learn by your mistakes. Exactly, exactly. I mean, I made a ton of mistakes when it first came to embroidery, especially when it comes to all the different types of like stabilizers and fabrics. Applique, I didn't really know much about. So you just learn as you go. You just got to start with the super simple projects and then work your way up. So, um, like for example, when I first started embroidery, I knew how to sew makeup bags and stuff like that. So I would cut out a portion of one of the makeup bags and embroider on it, like a simple 4x4 design. And it was just super easy to do. And you can even do like an initial or monogram or something super simple and easy to do. And then you can work your way up to applique, but it's really up to you. You know, everybody has a different process. So now I'm going to use a longer stitch length because this will be just kind of a basting stitch. Put my pins to the side. Now I'm going to sew down this edge because again, this edge will be covered up. So I'm going to sew it at 1/4 of an inch seam allowance, which is what you want to do because that will essentially be hidden in the stitches that we're about to do. So again, longer stitch length, 1/4 of an inch seam allowance, and just sew all the way around. I have friggin' clips all over the place, but like I said, that's what you need for this project. That's what I'm really afraid of, applique. Oh, I totally understand that. Well, I highly recommend these Fisker scissors. I think they're kind of expensive now, but like they're curved embroidery scissors. They're really simple and easy to use. You just kind of get to figure out um, what materials and what sort of sewing supplies you like to use the best. So personally, I like to use these. I know other people have different preferences, but these curved scissors tend to work best for applique and definitely practice on like, because I like to use for at least my samples, I use like knit fabric. So I get like a piece of cutaway stabilizer and then a piece of white, not knit, well, I guess knit interlocking fabric that kind of imitates like a shirt and just practice on those because then you can get your practice in and make sure the designs are stitching out okay, making sure that you're cutting out the applique appropriately. Um, and then when you feel more confident, then you can work up to like shirts or something like that. So definitely start on like some sample fabric that you're not a, you could care less if you ruin, but so then you can kind of work your way up to bigger projects. Because even when I first ever got my sewing machine, not this one, but my first ever like sewing machine, I started sewing infinity scarves, which essentially I kind of like or was were they in yeah, they are infinity scarves, but for the most part, you would just sew right down a straight line. So it was super great, easy not progress, but a really easy process to do. So definitely start out with simple projects, especially for applique, something simple um, that requires minimal applique. I don't even do much applique to be honest. But yeah, that's just kind of what I recommend. But you just got to figure out what works for you. And for the most part, you just got to really jump into it. You know, you can't be so afraid of it. And luckily, since you're watching other YouTubers and stuff like myself that are familiar with how to do embroidery, then you'll become more confident in it because then you can see how other people can educate you and make you feel more confident in what you can do. Because look at my live that I did the other day. Like I I ruined a shirt and it popped out of the hoop. So even though I thought I did everything right, I still messed up. So sometimes you just got to mess up and then learn from your mistakes, and then you'll be more careful and how you approach different projects and stuff. So, but I'm really glad that you're going to dust it off and, open up your boxes and stuff like that. Because it'll just take off. Like you can make just so many different projects with this. So, all right. So here is that it is all basted down because again, we did it at a longer stitch length. Now for the inside. So now for this part, you're going to want to make sure that you know what is the back versus the front. So as you guys remember, the back has a longer curve and the front has like kind of a short curve. So you're going to want to look for the longer curve, and that's how you know that that is the back. So I'm just looking inside. So I'm going to go like this. I think this is the back actually. Well now. I actually can't really tell with this one. Oh no, this is the back. I think. Now they're both equally curved, so I don't know what's going on here. Yeah, sometimes, I mean, look at me, like right now I'm struggling to figure out what is the back versus what is the front. Yeah, that's the front. This is the back. So like I said, look for the longer curve and make sure the seam allowance that is the inside crotch seam allowance is like directly in the middle, and then you can tell what exactly is the back. So now you're going to want to grab the portion of the band that has the opening, because again, that is the back. So once you determine which portion of the skort is the back, then you will put this open part again in the back. So you're going to pin it right sides together. So you're going to leave it just like this, and then you're going to put it inside. So again, right sides together and matching up the seam allowances. So as you can see, this is what it would look like. So again, clip your seam allowance. Most of the time when I do shorts, I mark the back of the shorts with maybe a safety pin or masking tape. Yeah, that's a good idea. Especially if you're doing this project for the first time, I think that is a really good idea. 90% of the time I can tell, but this one I had a little bit of trouble with, but luckily I did figure out what is the back, but that is a good idea. Or even making like a marking on the top of the back, you know what I mean? Like with the pen that would be able to be hidden with the seam allowance. I think that's a good idea. But you see, here I am thinking I'm a seasoned pro, and I couldn't tell the back for a second. So everything just comes in practice, and you just got to know that you're going to make mistakes here and there. Yeah. So like I said, we're coming to the end of this project almost 2.5 hours later. All right, now you're gonna go to smaller stitch length. And now you're going to stitch all around the top edge, now at a 1/2 inch seam allowance, because the basting stitch that we just did was 1/4. So the 1/4 inch seam allowance should be hidden within the seam allowance that we're just about to do. So I usually like to have this portion up so I can make sure that I don't catch the band or anything like that, because you're not supposed to do that. So again, shorter inch seam allowance at 1/2 inch, so 1/2 inch seam allowance, shorter stitch length. Making sure you're not sewing anything that you're not supposed to. Are you adding a tag? Yes, I am. I'll show you exactly where I add the tag as well. Essentially, it's where the opening is that we left on the band, but like I said, I'll walk you guys through that shortly. So again, going around the whole entire thing, 1/2 inch seam allowance, making sure you're not catching anything that you're not supposed to. And I'll show you the tags that I use as well and where exactly I get them from. Because I actually need to order more soon, I think, because I make a lot of like 4Ts and stuff like that. So I think I'm kind of running low on those. So again, going around, coming up to the opening, which we're not touching. Coming to the end that we just started at. All right, so that is all stitched on. So now we're going to go back to the serger and we're going to serge this edge because as you can see, there's tons of little fuzzies and stuff that we don't want. So we're going to serge all around this top portion so it's all nice and crisp. All right. Now we're all done with the serger, so that can be turned off. Okay, so here is that serged edge that we just did. So now you're going to flip this out. Now you can see where the elastic's going to go through. Pull out any random thread bits. Apparently there's some in here. Okay, so here is the back that we have open. So that's good where we're going to thread our elastic through. Now on the pattern, it also lists how long you want the elastic to be. So again, this is a size 7 years. So we're going to use 23.5 inch waist. So that's how much we're going to cut out. And I find that for this particular pattern, if you just cut out the elastic for what it recommends, that it's totally fine. So I got my long ruler here. Got my scissors. Here is the elastic that I use. Um, oh, might have another birthday outfit order. So here's the elastic that I use. I think it's like 1.5 inches from Joann's, but I usually just trim it down to 1 inch. I find that it works fine. I usually put a pin in it to kind of keep the elastic from coming out. So now, again, since I'm doing 7.5 or 7 years, I'm going to do, what is it, 23.5? Yes. So this is a 24-inch ruler, so just a little, about 1/2 inch off the edge there. Then I'm going to trim it. Yeah, I actually bought this from back in my mask making days, which it turns out I bought the wrong kind for, but what can you do? So I bought actually one of these from Joann's, and it took forever to get, but they even sent me two on accident because I think they knew that they messed up. So they thought they didn't think that they sent one, but they did. So I'm pretty happy with that. All right. So now you got your elastic. Now I'm going to trim it down to be 1 inch in width, even a little bit less because you want to be able to make it go through the casing. Now for the pattern, this is what I do differently from the pattern. So when you do the waistband, it's telling you to have like 2 sections for the elastic, but I just do one. I don't think it's necessary to have like 2 elastic sections. So I just make one big section for it. It just makes life so much easier. So here's the elastic, and I like to use this. I actually got these self-threading needles, and it's like a magnet. So I just put the pins that I use on the magnet. So I'm just going to grab one. Going to grab the pin, push it through one of the ends of the elastic, not close to the end, but that's about how close that I get, about 1/2 inch away from the outside of the elastic. Now you're going to grab your skort, and then you're going to start threading your elastic through the opening in the back. So again, we left about a 3-inch opening in the back. So now since we cut the elastic to be slightly smaller than the casing, it should be easy to weed it through the elastic. So now you're going to push it through, or pull it through in this case. Being careful not to twist the elastic. So slowly go through. So if you guys make tutus, this is like the same process pretty much for doing a pulling the elastic through a tutu, which I'm hoping to do fairly soon, because I think that would also be a really great seller to add tutus to my Etsy shop, which I've been planning on making a video for a long time, but haven't had the chance to. So I got to kind of get cranking down on that because I don't know how often I'm going to be in my craft room this summer. So just keep threading through. Pulling the elastic through as you go. And then we're coming through the opening. Now it's all bunched up, so I'm going to kind of evenly distribute it. Okay. Oh. All right, so now I know my elastic is not all twisted, so the portion that I usually put the pin on, I usually put in the back, and then I would put this in the front, and then I always double check I will overlap them to make sure that the elastic isn't twisted. I'll pull the elastic, which feels pretty good and even. Oh, no, look it. I have a twist right there. So if I didn't pay attention to that, then I would have been screwed. So I'm going to unpin this, put the pin in the one edge that we just we're pulling through. Now you're going to manipulate the fabric so it's going through the end that you do not have a twist at. So this is why I always double check, because if I didn't double check just then, I would have sewed it and then it would have been all twisted in the casing. So that would not have been good. So there we are. Now it is all fixed. Again, I'm just going to double check. So I'm going to pull the elastic through here a little bit more. Push it through, pin it, and then making sure that it does not feel twisted, which it does not. It feels nice and even on both sides. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to overlap it probably about an inch. And then I'm going to go back and forth a bunch of times, probably like 5 or 6 times, just to make sure that elastic is not going anywhere. And then we'll start preparing to put the tags on. So 2.5 hours is not a bad time length for this tutorial. Like I said, my first one actually took me about 3 hours to do. So, 2.5, or no, it took me like 4 hours. So now you're going to go forward, keeping it a tighter stitch length. I go a bunch of times back and forth. Trim the fabric or the thread. Put my pin back on my little thing here. Now I'm going to make sure it's all nice and stretchy, which it is. And then now I have this big old bin that I have my tags in, which I'm planning on doing a video on. I'm planning on doing like a barcode system so I can keep track of how many tags I have, because like there's so many like little tags in different compartments and they're all kind of mixed up. So I'm planning on doing good morning. I'm planning on doing like I said, I have these little more smaller plastic bins that not even bins, are like containers that I'm going to use specifically for my tags, and then I'm going to use like vinyl to kind of organize them. And then I'm going to use a barcoding system as well. And I'm going to use that barcode system as well to kind of help to keep track of how many shirts I have. Because, for example, I'd like to have at least one size of each in stock. And then for my more popular ones, I want to have at least 2 shirts in stock. So that way, if I get orders, then I'll then I'll be reassured that I have plenty of those specific sizes in stock. So yeah. So like I said, right now it's a 7 years. Yeah, 7-year size. So I'm looking for a size 7, which is right here. So there's a little 7. And then I have my name tags here. I get these custom made from Mountain Street Arts. So typically she offers tags that are kind of in like a tweed cream color versus the ones in white. I personally prefer the ones in white. These 2T ones, I accidentally forgot to include that I want them to be in white. So they are in that tweed-ish color, I guess, natural color. So if you do want it to be in a white twill, you can just like let her know. And she's very accommodating, and she ships out really fast as well. So if you ever need something, like for example, these tags, she gives you a bunch of font options. And then even I purchased from her before, but then it was a long while later that I purchased from her again, and I didn't remember exactly what I ordered, but she found through her archive what exactly I ordered, the size, So I just ordered the same exact tags that I did before. I think I got like 90 of them, but I think there was like a whole other third that I got through. So these definitely go through fairly quickly, especially if you make a lot of kid clothes like I do. So I'm going to grab one of those. I'm going to put these others away. So now I'm going to match up, tuck you away. So here's the bottom, or the one that we left open. So here's the middle part. So I'm going to make sure I put everything in the middle. So I'm going to put I usually like to put my, oh, I have it upside down. I like to put my shop name on the one side, and then I like to do the number on the other side. But I usually like to put this one on the the right hand side, and then this on the left hand, but it doesn't really matter. So now go back to the sewing machine, and now we're going to sew that opening closed. So I'm just going to fold this in half. So there's that. Going to use a longer stitch length because that's what we did for the casing. Going to make sure it's still folded at the inner edge of the casing. I'm going to put it down where my first stitch was that I ended off on. Going to go forward, backward a couple stitches. Then I'm going to get my name tag, place it down. I'll show you what this looks like after I'm done as well. And then I keep it fairly close to the edge where the name is. And now I'm going to go about 1/8 of an inch, making sure that I put down, or that I sew down my tag. And then I'm going to do the size. So it's a 7. I'm going to place it down right next to the name. Sew that down as well. I'm going to stretch it out, and then I'm going to close that opening. So this is why I like to do a larger opening, because sometimes I'm a little bit off where I think the middle would be. Gosh, I have so many clips everywhere. So I'm trimming all of the threads. And that essentially is how you make a skort. So let's show you guys the finished product. So here it is. So this is the front. It's got the 3 ruffles. It's got the yoke, or also known as the casing that we did, with a nice stretchy waistband. We also have my name tag that we added on the inside there with the size 7. I just think it makes it look nice and professional. So I made sure that I got the size tags in there. I sewed the opening and the back all closed. And then the inside, oh wait, I can never tell. Well, I can like look down here and I can show you, but so you can see the shorts there, I guess, kind of. So there's the shorts. So yeah, like I said, so the shorts essentially kind of create the baseline for your skort, and then you just kind of pin your ruffles all around. Yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate that. Like I said, although this project is quite time consuming, I just think the end result is so cute. And whenever I think of like a party dress, or a skirt, I just think of something super cute and ruffly. And like I said, I showed you guys in the beginning, the one customer that posted that review. So as you can see, it turns out super cute. It comes just above the knee for your little ones. So yeah, so like I said, this is a size 7 year, super fun and ruffly, and just a good old fun party skirt. So, or skort. I keep saying skirt, it's a skort. So that's what it really makes it stand out, in my opinion, as well, is that it also has the shorts incorporated. So you don't have to worry about any underpants showing with this one, because everything will be nicely tucked away. And, even after a little one's birthday, you can just a little girl can just wear these for fun and like a party or like uh not a bridesmaid, what's the term? Wedding, there we go. Like a birthday party, or maybe one of their friends has a party, or a summer party, 4th of July. Ooh, 4th of July. I might do a 4th of July skort. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this tutorial. I know it was quite lengthy, but I think the end result is absolutely adorable, super fun, easy project, or not easy project, but I would say intermediate level because it requires a lot of patience, a lot of time. For sure, you would definitely need a combination of a sewing and a serger. But overall, very rewarding project. Um, Super cute. So now I have two of my three outfits done. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. I really appreciate it. I don't know when I'm going to go live again, but like I said, since I knew this video would be lengthy, I thought that I would just come on and do a live so then I won't have to edit anything. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, please let me know in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for all your encouraging words. And definitely don't be afraid to get involved in like sewing or doing an embroidering project. So thank you guys for watching again. I will let you all know when I'm planning on going live again. Maybe on Wednesday. Possibly, I don't know, it depends on what I've got going on. So, I hope you all have a nice rest of your weekend or your afternoon or your morning or wherever it is, wherever you guys live. So, I will see you all next time. Bye.